everyone and welcome back to Obas Trending Gist. Today we are diving deep into a brewing political storm in Nigeria. Former Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai has sparked a major controversy with claims that President Bola Tinubu intends to extend his tenure beyond 2031, likening him to Cameroon's long-serving leader Paul Biya. The presidency has swiftly dismissed these allegations as baseless and absurd. This accusation has ignited a heated debate, raising questions about political integrity and the future of Nigeria's democracy. Let us get straight into the heart of the matter. Sit back and take a watch.
Okay, so now let's quickly go into the heart of the story. It seems that Malam El-Rufai's comment is sending shivers the spine of the APC and the federal government. Looking at his claims, he categorically described the president as a pretentious Democrat having a lifetime ambition. How would you react to that?
Well, we now have some bandits in the opposition who believes at any point in time he can just come up with unsubstantiated, claims and just say whatever he likes to get traction, to get attention, to drive his hatred for the person of Mr. President home. And, we cannot continue to run a nation where there is no sincerity of purpose. And for as long as we behave this way, we're not different from the motor park touts that, otherwise you sit in the comfort of your home, open your mouth and say whatever you like in the name of opposition, in the name of, so it beats me. I really cannot understand. What has President Bola Tinubu done to demonstrate that he likes to have a third term or he wants to remain in power perpetually? There's no indication of that. This was a man who, half or even most of his political life was fighting for democracy when the military was, sitting tight. Where was El-Rufai at those times?
In that first segment, we had the initial report of El-Rufai's startling claims that President Tinubu is plotting to remain in power beyond constitutional limits. The presidency, through Special Advisor Bayo Onanuga, wasted no time in calling these allegations baseless and absurd, emphasizing Tinubu's commitment to democratic principles. And exiting office in 2031 is, if re-elected. El-Rufai's comparison of Tinubu to Cameroon's Paul Biya is particularly pointed, accusing the government of centralizing power and threatening democracy. This sets a very confrontational tone right from the start, questioning the very foundation of current administration's intention. Onanuga, however, sees these remarks as a sign of frustration from El-Rufai over Tinubu's growing support in the north, suggesting political motives behind former governor's statement. Now, let's turn our attention to the intense studio discussion that followed, featuring Chief Abiodun Ajiboye, Director General of the National Institute of Cultural Orientation. He brings a strong counter-narrative to El-Rufai's accusation. Get ready for his fierce reaction as we play the next clip. Watch this.
And
Malam El-Rufai described the Nadeko stunts as fake. And we also saw a close ally of President Bola Tinubu, former Governor Fayemi, who also said that during the subsidy protest that they were just deceiving Nigeria, that it was all politics. So when you juxtapose this together and what Atiku Abubakar also said, so when you read some of these comments, where some people are alleging that there's a lot of state capture going on in the country regarding what's happening in Rivers State, how would you react to these statements?
I want to believe Fayemi was quoted out of context. Because Fayemi ran the Radio Kudrat. So Fayemi knew what he went through during the Nadeko days. So Fayemi could not have said that. And if anybody believes he said that, I would like to actually see an evidence that he said that. One. Two, with respect to El-Rufai, it's about time we started to consider his mental health. I have every reason to believe that there's a little bit of challenge with respect to his mental health.
Mr. Ajiboye. All right. Let's steer this conversation in sort of a more productive direction, so we don't end up, doing the same things that we are accusing Malam El-Rufai of doing. Now, when we look at the conversation around the proposition to pursue a third term, as we've seen happen, allegedly happen in the past. When we look at the prospect of Nigeria becoming a Cameroon, for example, some of the issues that were brought up by Malam El-Rufai were issues around political thuggery. If you remember, the whole occasion of that visit was because Atiku Abubakar was paying him a courtesy visit as a solidarity, a show of solidarity with him because of what had transpired in Kaduna State. Now, we also know what happened in Lagos State when the governor, the aspiring governor, Gbadebo Rhodes Viva, was decamping from Labour Party to ADC. There was also rancor around that. So now the ADC is saying that APC is creating a political climate that is defined by thuggery against opposition parties. What do you say to these allegations?
All I can say to that is, if there is any disruption of peace in any environment, it is the responsibility of the law enforcement agents to arrest those involved in the disruption and try them. It's as simple as that. Whether political, whether social, whether any sort of event. You see, the question of somebody seeking a third term or perpetuating himself in power is not measured by some flimsy indications, such as the kind of thing that happened in Lagos with the ADC meeting, or the kind of thing that happened in Kaduna with the ADC. The point remains that there are processes to assembly, and the police is always after the fact that, please, if your assembly is likely to cause public disruption, we need to be aware. We need to give a little bit of consent so that we can monitor and nip any kind of crisis in the bud. I think that is as simple as that. To begin to imagine that those crises were orchestrated by the APC is just being mentally lazy and playing politics the same way to the gallery. I wouldn't want to believe that the APC will have that. So is it
impossible? Are you saying that it's impossible that
I am not in a position to tell you that I am not in a position to tell you that it is possible when I was not part of it, and there is no indication that can make me to infer that the APC was involved in that kind of crisis. If you have any evidence in that regard or to that effect, please avail me those evidence so that I can flow with you in your thoughts.
Okay. Now you questioned the integrity of Malam El-Rufai, because I don't want to re-echo the exact words you used. But when we consider his political pedigree, he was the former FCT minister under President Obasanjo, and was also a two-term governor of Kaduna State, and also very fundamentally, he was a close ally of President Tinubu during his campaign to the 2023 elections. Would it be out of order to accept or to imagine that he was thinking out of his close and intimate knowledge of the person in question, President Bola Tinubu, given his narrative?
El-Rufai had a motive for every support he gives or he gave at the time of the campaign. El-Rufai was of the opinion that given the brilliance he demonstrated at some point in life, and that he would have been picked as vice president. When that failed, he got berserk. And it's as simple as that. Anybody who cannot read it rightly is just, I don't want us to waste a lot of time discussing certain things, because I know for a fact that El-Rufai became what he is now because of the failure to achieve some political ambition, some political interest, some political aspirations. Now, how do we judge a man who went to town, to disrupt and denigrate a government that is just about 2 years in power? How do you judge? You were part of, a previous government for 8 years. You have been in government for so long, and Bola Tinubu's government is barely 2 years. You have gone to town to destroy everything that government is putting in place. How patriotic do you view such character, such attitude, such behavior? How else do you want to classify that kind of behavior outside? Imagine that it's some delirium, you know, I can't understand. No human standard can understand the basis behind El-Rufai's latest banditry with respect to his judgment, you know, to this government. Nobody can understand. The only thing anybody can infer to be responsible for his action at this point is because he failed to grab the kind of position and power he expected himself to grab in this government. And the only thing he can do to keep himself busy, since he's now out of government, he has nothing doing, I don't know. He said he went for some, you know, PhD or something. I don't know if he truncated that ambition to come back home to destroy the government. That's all I see that he's doing. Because he has never been able to substantiate any of his claims.
Okay. You know, when the conspiracy, and I'm using the word conspiracy intentionally here because we don't have, you know, proof of the ambition that former President Olusegun Obasanjo had for a potential third term. The National Assembly stood up to the task and was instrumental in ensuring that such a thing did not see the light of day. Now, when we look at today's National Assembly, many people are saying that the term rubber stamp gets thrown around often. Now, beyond that term that people use, the truth stands that when the plenary resumes again after the summer vacation, there will be a 2/3 majority in the Senate. So if any president, whether it be President Tinubu or any other president, but for this particular instance, it's President Tinubu who's presiding over a 2/3 majority in Senate. So is it too far from the truth for us to say that if there was a desire for a third term, unlike in the time of President Olusegun Obasanjo, that this time around the outcome may be different?
My dear sister, you conjecture a lot. You imagine so much. And I understand why as a journalist. Because I can't understand what you are talking about. A political party became so popular to the extent that they have a 2/3 in the House, in the Senate. What is the problem with that? I mean, that shows that that political party represents the people, you know, absolutely or correctly.
How would you react to people saying that
Sir, I like
use
that. Just hold on, Gbenga. I do like that you say that I conjecture a lot because I'm, you know, taking real life examples that we've seen in countries such as Cameroon, for example. We've seen it happen in Zimbabwe. We've seen it in various other countries where 2/3 majority was then used to drive a constitutional amendment that changed term limits. Uganda as well is an example. There are multiple examples across Africa. So my imagination has taken me around the African continent for real life examples in history. And I'm just saying, what stops this from replicating in Nigeria?
My dear sister, I don't know how old you are, but if you are old enough to understand Nigeria, you know that Nigeria is not in the class of those kind of political misdemeanor or misbehavior. Nigeria is not. Look, as we speak today, the greatest critic of Bola Tinubu are from the southwest. That tells you that there cannot be any rubber stamp in any circumstance in this country. I don't believe in it. Now, let me talk about the person of Bola Tinubu that I know quite well as my principal. That man has no business staying one day longer in power, as constitutionally, you know, permitted. And what business will he have staying, you know, so perpetuating himself in power?
Chief Ajiboye, I want you to clarify. Are you saying that President Tinubu will not stay one day longer beyond 2020, beyond 2031, or one day longer beyond what is being constitutionally permitted?
What is constitutionally permitted is 2 terms.
Okay.
And he has a right to go for the 2 terms.
And you don't think that when such a strong allegation comes, the right thing is for the president to come out to tell the public that I would not stay in office beyond May 28, 2031.
They did that
president
yesterday.
himself
He
should
doesn't
have
have to.
responded.
So what is the essence, what is the essence of a special advisor?
No, but we've seen a lot of accidents within his communications apparatus. You know that from the Dubai visa policy.
Gbenga, that is not the point.
So many
that is not the point. Stop drawing
I think
inferences.
it would have just been nice to see the president come out
that's
to
your
deny
wish.
such claims.
The allegation is coming from where? It's coming from a machine that is an itinerant disruptor of. Have you forgotten the kind of pedigree El-Rufai has? El-Rufai speaks, and the president should come out to debunk El-Rufai's allegation. El-Rufai's allegation are born out of bitterness, hatred. So why would the president spend quality time he should spend building the country to come and refute an allegation from El-Rufai?
And you don't think that would add to the nation's electoral and democratic integrity?
No, the special advisor had spoken. The special advisor had spoken, and he had spoken with the authority of the president. If that is not enough, I don't know what you intend to achieve.
No, but I was just asking this question because of the antecedents. The antecedents of communication breakdown in the president's communication
I don't know why you decide to harp on communication breakdown as if that has never happened in Arise TV.
You are dragging Arise News into
No, I'm not. I'm saying that I am a communication expert, and I'm saying that in any communication apparatus, there is bound to be a misstep at one point or the other. That's the point I'm making.
All right.
So if it happens,
and that point is duly noted. Thank you for that, Chief Ajiboye. Thank you.
Chief Ajiboye did not hold back in his response to El-Rufai's claims. He characterized the former governor's remarks as a coming from bandits in the opposition who are driven by hatred and a lack of sincerity of purpose. Ajiboye asserted that President Tinubu has shown no indication of wanting to stay in power, perpetually highlighting Tinubu's long history of fighting for democracy when the military was in power. He questioned El-Rufai's whereabouts during those struggles and dismissed El-Rufai's comment as merely showing frustration over unfolding political ambitions, especially given his failed bid to be vice president. This segment really escalates the rhetorics, moving beyond political disagreement to personal attacks, questioning El-Rufai's motive and even his mental health. So my take on this, the entire discussion around El-Rufai's allegation and the presidency's pushback, as seen in this news report, reveals the deep-seated mistrust and fierce political jostling happening in Nigeria. On one hand, El-Rufai's comparison to Paul Biya and the accusation of centralizing power touch on legitimate concerns about democratic backsliding, especially when we look at precedents in other African countries like Uganda or even historical attempts in Nigeria. The questions raises about political thuggery and National Assembly's potential to become a rubber stamp and not to be dismissed lightly as they resonate with real anxieties about governance and accountability. However, Chief Ajiboye's passionate defense highlights another crucial aspect, the role of personal ambition and political bitterness in shaping public discourse. That's his argument that El-Rufai's claim stemmed from a failed aspiration for the vice presidency and are therefore baseless and absurd, shifts the focus from the substance of the accusation to the motive of the accuser, while El-Rufai's political pedigree and past actions to give his words some weight. The lack of concrete evidence for Tinubu's alleged third-term ambition makes it difficult to definitely confirm or deny. Ultimately, this debate underscores the fragile nature of democratic institutions in many African nations and the importance of vigilance from both populace and opposition figures. However, for such criticism to be effective and credible, they must be backed by irrefutable fact rather than perceived frustration or banditry. It's a call for accountability, but also for responsibility in political commentary. That wraps up our trending gist for today. What are your thoughts on El-Rufai's claim and the presidency's response? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Oba's Trending Gist, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an update. Stay informed and stay engaged.